Hello, good day. How are you today? You're good, right? Okay. Are you ready for today's lesson? You are? That is good. Today in civic education, we are going to be looking at state of emergency. Our topic for today in civic education it's on state of emergency. So are we ready for the lesson? Today's lesson, we are going to be looking at what happens during emergency period and ways of reducing emergency. Okay? But first, let's know the meaning of state of emergency. What do we mean by state of emergency? A state of emergency refers to a situation in which a government grants itself or relevant authorities temporary and enhanced powers to respond to a crisis. Okay? A state of emergency means that a government is taking special actions against crises. This could be things like natural disaster or unrest. Okay, during this time, the government gets extra powers to deal with the situation, even if it means changing or suspending some normal rules. Do you understand? For example, let's say a region is facing a severe flood. The government might declare a state of emergency quickly to mobilize resources, evacuate people, and coordinate emergency services. This allows authorities to respond more effectively to the crisis by temporarily adjusting normal procedures and regulations. Okay? Now let's look at what happens during emergency period. During an emergency period, what happens? Enhanced government powers. Authorities may gain extra powers to address the crisis promptly. This could involve restrictions on movement, allocating resources, or making quick decisions without the usual bureaucratic processes. Okay? Government gets extra powers. They can make quick decisions and change normal rules to deal with the crisis. Do you understand? Rights limitations. Certain individual rights might be temporarily limited to ensure public safety. For instance, curfews or restrictions on assembly may be imposed. Okay? Some rights may be limited during emergency period. To keep people safe, the government might limit things like where you can go or what you can do. Resource mobilization. Governments can swiftly allocate funds, personnel, and equipment to respond to the emergency. This facilitates a more rapid and coordinated effort to address the crisis. So during emergency period, resource mobilization is done, okay? The government can move money, people, and equipment fast to help during crisis. Quick use of resources. Do you understand? Emergency services activation. Specialized services such as disaster response team or medical units are activated to provide immediate assistance to those affected. Okay? Special services start working. Teams for emergencies like medical or rescue teams, they start helping people right away. Communication and coordination. There is often increased communication between government agencies, emergency services, and the public to ensure a coordinated response and keep people informed about the situation. Lots of communication happen. Everyone talks more to make sure everyone knows what's happening and what to do. Temporary rule changes. Some rules or regulations may be temporarily changed or suspended to allow for more flexibility in managing the emergency. Rules can change temporarily. Some rules might be different during the emergency to help handle the situation better, okay? Community support. The community is encouraged to collaborate, following guidelines and supporting each other during the crisis. People help each other. The community works together, following guidelines to stay safe and support each other. So all these happen during emergency period, okay? So during emergency period, enhanced government powers, rights limitation, resource mobilization, emergency service activation, communication and coordination, temporary rule changes, and community support. All these happen during emergency period, okay? Now let's look at ways of reducing emergency. Ways of reducing emergency. So reducing emergencies involves prevention and preparedness. Identify potential risks and prepare for them in advance. This includes having plans, resources, and training in place to handle possible emergencies. Okay, do you understand? Getting ready beforehand. Make plans and have what you need to deal with possible problems. Okay? Education and awareness. Another way of reducing emergency. Informing communities about potential risks and how to stay safe can prevent emergencies or reduce their impact. Telling people what to do, that is what this means. Share information so everyone should know how to stay safe. Okay? Another way of reducing emergency, infrastructural development. Building and maintaining strong infrastructure like levees or fire breaks can mitigate the impact of natural disasters, okay? Building strong things. Make sure buildings and stuff can handle bad situations like floods or fires. Early warning systems. Implement systems that provide early warnings for disasters, giving people more time to evacuate or prepare. Do you understand? Giving warnings early. Have systems that tell people early if something bad is coming, okay? Conflict resolution. Addressing underlying issues and conflicts can reduce the likelihood of civil unrest or political emergencies. Solving problems before they get big. That is what this means, okay? Fix issues and arguments early to avoid bigger troubles later. Environmental conservation. Protecting the environment helps prevent natural disasters like floods or wildfires. Taking care of nature. Protect the environment to prevent things like floods and fires. International cooperation. Collaborating with other countries and organizations can enhance global efforts to prevent and respond to emergencies. Working together, working with others. Join forces with other countries and groups to help each other in tough times. Okay? It's about being ready, sharing information, and working together to prevent problems and deal with them if they happen. Okay? So these are ways of reducing emergency. So today's lesson on states of emergency, we understood everything we talked about, right? We looked at what happens during emergency period, and lastly, ways of reducing emergency. So we understood everything we talked about. So next we are going to be looking at our assignment. I'm sure we are going to be able to do our assignment, right? Okay, that is good.